11 o'clock. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on full screen mode. So hello everyone. My name is Sarah Thomas and I am a teacher from Prince George's County Public Schools in Maryland. And I have done this presentation like everywhere, but it's so much more, it's so much more exciting to do it at home. So do we have any other PG people in this room or former PG people? All right. Where else is everyone from? Frederick County, Virginia. Loudon, Virginia, DC. Calvert. Okay. So we have quite the eclectic crowd here. So that is excellent. If you're already on Twitter, then I'd love to connect. So at Sarah the Teacher is my Twitter handle. Love to connect about this, gamification, collaboration in general. But this session is going to be an hour with some tips and tricks for flipped instruction. Hello, how you doing? No, come on in, welcome. Yeah, so it's going to be an hour with some tips and tricks for flipped instruction. As I share different resources, and I'd like to invite you to try them out. However, a lot of the work that you do is going to be afterwards, so that's why I was pushing the Twitter so much, because we have a hashtag just for you guys. So it is FlipMD. So if you come up with any aha moments that you'd like to share out, then go ahead and use this hashtag FlipMD on Twitter. Also, after attending this session, if you have any flips that you've done that you would like to share, then go ahead, hashtag them out, FlipMD. I do check them. Hopefully we can use all of the wealth in this room to continue to refine our flips. Also, Yacht Summit is a hashtag of this session. All right. So, any of you who were in my session yesterday, don't spoil it. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give you a brief introduction. Think of a student, a young lady, to be exact, 8th grader, comes to the back of the room, sits, chats with her friends the whole time. The teacher's trying to talk. The teacher's raising his or her voice, pulling his or her hair out, trying to connect with the student. But whatever he or she does, it's just not happening. So when the student goes home, then, she might play some video games, she might talk on the phone, things of that nature. Comes back to class, the cycle repeats itself again. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Yeah, it sounds really familiar to me because 20 years ago, I was a student. So think about how it is now when we have we are digital natives just embracing this technology. You see them walking around all the time with devices in their hands. You see them, texting their friends, things of that nature. So flipped instruction is a great way to meet our digital natives kind of halfway on their own terms. A lot of them teach themselves how to do things online anyway. Like, for example, I have some really talented artists. So last year for the yearbook, we needed a design made. So I had the kids sit there, they took an iPad, and they went and Googled how to draw, like, Mickey Mouse or whatever. And they taught themselves on YouTube with the video. So pretty much that ties into the notion of flipped instruction, which is taking, you have your lesson videotaped, and the students watch it before they come to class. And then when they come to class, then they are ready to learn. And this is very similar to a concept known as blended learning. Are any of you familiar with that term? Yeah, where you can use devices in class, and students can sit there with iPads or Chromebooks or whatever, and just use that technology in class to interact. So, how many of you currently flip? All right.
Occasional use count?
Yes, yeah. It does. It does. All right, so if you look around the room, then you see that I'm not the only person in here who knows what they're doing. So please connect with each other. Connect with each other. Definitely build up that community on Twitter. And we can all share the knowledge. And if you have any questions about anything, then feel free to stop me at any time with a question. Also, if you have experience with a certain thing, if something has worked for you, then please feel free to share that out at any time. So today we just have 3 goals. The first one, which many of you listed in a poll everywhere, was to explore the concept of flipping. The second one, this is actually my favorite right here, to address potential challenges of flipping, because I love it when people say, well, I can't flip because, and then we have ideas to prove them wrong, so to speak. And last but not least, we're looking at ways to flip using Google Apps for Education and more. So we're at a Google Summit. It just makes sense using Google tools to flip. So let's go ahead and get to it. we're going to first talk a little bit about how flipping works. So there's a great infographic here. I wish I could say I created it, but I didn't. This is from Newton. And hopefully my whole screen resolution will show up. Okay, zoom in. Boom. I'm not going to go through all of this. The resources are on the Google presentation, or I'm sorry, on the Google site. So you could go through it here at your own leisure. But the flipped classroom, pretty much a few highlights of this. Many of us learned in a similar way. We would come to class, the teacher would write the notes on the board, assign the reading, we would go home, read, come back, take a test, get our A, and then forget all about it the next day, right? Is that how most of you learned? Yeah, that's definitely how I learned. And this was known as sage on the stage. There was a whole lot of sit and get in our learning as students. However, now when you have flipped classroom, then now you have the teacher being a guide on the side. So the teacher is actually able to help the kids. The kids are the ones in control here. The kids are empowered. The kids have that buy-in because they know that that learning is theirs. The learning belongs to them, and the teacher is here to facilitate it. So it has worked tremendously with my class. Let me scroll down a little more. Okay, so the flipped classroom, the way that it came to be, many teachers have been using videos in their class for a really long time, but the flipped classroom movement started about 2007, and it's traced back to these two teachers, Bergman and Sams in Colorado. They discovered how to record PowerPoint presentations. They put it online. It started spreading. They put it online for the kids who were absent or missed class. It started spreading, and the movement caught on. And since then, please come on in. So since then, the flipped classroom movement has become a thing. So how many of you are familiar with Salman Khan? Okay, Khan Academy? Great. So with that, then, he's definitely one of the big names in flipped instruction. Let's scroll down a little more. So some of you might be wondering, well, this is great, but does it work? Here is some data here from a study that they did about flipped instruction. So you can see the difference. Before the flip, you had these horrid numbers with most students not doing very well and a lot of discipline problems. Now, after they started flipping, look at this. 19% of students were failing, or we should put it more positively, 81% of students were passing, and 87% of them were passing math. So 81% passing English, 87% passing math. And look at this discipline cases. Look at this, how it has shrunk by a factor of about 3. Anybody have an idea why? They're more responsible for their learning. Increased motivation. Student-centered. They're learning what they want to learn.
And they have tasks that they're involved in instead of just sitting and listening.
Exactly, they're involved. And also,
and they can watch it 500 times if they have to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what I found out is that they tell me they like it because they can watch it on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a phone, they say, I watched you last night on my phone.
Absolutely.
I watched you on the bus on the way home.
Absolutely. There's no better feeling than that. When the kids want to watch you, then it's just like, wow. Now, I'll tell you, in my class, I teach 8th grade English Language Arts, and I also teach 6th through 8 technology. Oh, you too?
Yeah.
All right, great. So pretty much in my class, I was seeing a few years back, maybe about 3 years back, I had these brilliant students. They were incredible. These students were some of the smartest kids I've ever seen, but yet their grades were not reflecting it. So I go back and I take a look. Why? Their homework grade is killing them. They're doing just fine on their tests and quizzes, but homework counts for 25%, and if you don't do your homework, then you cannot get an A or a B. It's just impossible. It defies the laws of math. So with homework, then a lot of the times it's very tempting to say, okay, you need to learn responsibility. I'm going to give you that C. But with homework, then a lot of times we don't know what's going on with our students. Sometimes, depending on what you teach, their parents might not get it to explain it to them. Especially if you teach higher level math or a different language. I teach at a French immersion school. So a lot of our parents, they don't speak French. So when you get to 7th, 8th grade French, then parents are like, what, huh? So there's that. You also don't know, if you assign a whole lot of work online, students might have issues of access. So you never really know what's going on in a student's household. So when we started flipping, and students were able to watch the videos in different ways, and we'll talk about issues of access in just a second. But when we started flipping, then their grades started to match their ability levels. So that's pretty much how it worked for me in my classroom. Anybody else in here have an experience with flipping that they would like to share? Ooh, I didn't do that.
We're going to teach a language, and the problem I had in the past is the kids would go home and do homework and they couldn't do it. They would just make it up.
Right.
So I'd come in and I'd give them points for doing it, but we'd have to do it again anyway. And so by flipping, I can do the work with them, see what their issues are, and then that way it alleviates all those kinds of wasted time that they would use at home, just making up answers.
Absolutely, that is so true. So it is definitely a time saver. So here's one more infographic. This is by sophia.org, and I really, really love this one because it has so much great info on it. So once again, going down here, about 96% of teachers recognize the term flipped instruction, and about 78% have done it in some way. If you think that you have not flipped a lesson, you probably already have, but just haven't realized it. If you've used like LearnZillion or anything like that, then you've probably already flipped even without knowing it. 96% of teachers who have flipped would recommend it to another person. Now let's scroll down here. I found this particularly interesting. Flipped classroom teachers indicated that a majority of students, look at these groups, with special needs, English language learners from low-income households, and those in advanced placement classes particularly benefit from flipped learning. Now, I don't like to read stuff word for word, but this I feel warranted, because these are the groups right here that a lot of people are afraid to try flipping because they think that it'll increase that achievement gap between students, but it really doesn't. And we're going to talk about ways to fix any kind of technology gaps that might exist in just a second. Okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to show you from that. Yeah, so this is all available in the resources. So you can go through all of it. So flipping is safe for all ages. How many of you in here are elementary people? All right, middle. Oh, okay. Yeah, old habits die hard, right? High school? All right. Beyond high school? Okay. Yes. And anybody else I didn't shout out? Okay. Well, let me tell you right now, flipping is great for everybody. A lot of times I have like kindergarten teachers ask me, hey, can I use this? There was even one teacher that taught special needs for kindergarten who sat in on my session and asked, would this work for my kids? And the answer is yes. And the example that I give is that my goddaughter is 4, but since she was 1, then she could take her mother's iPhone. She knew her app that would sing the ABC song for her, and she would play with it. So if she can do that, then a 5-year-old can definitely do that. They might not be able to type in a URL, but someone brought up the great suggestion that QR codes could work great. Yeah. So there's all kinds of great stuff in there. How many of you are one-to-one? All right, so one-to-one, you all are able to actually blend your instruction. And how many are BYOD? Okay, all right, so anytime you have one device per kid, or even one device for a small group of kids, then you can even use your flips and blend them in your classroom instruction. So it works out great.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment in that we were trying to figure out at a school, there was a Title I school, how many kids had access to internet at home and stuff like that. And what we figured out was that even though the parent, may be low income, or they may be living in a homeless shelter, there's one thing they probably have, and that is a phone. And so that they could actually, so the kids could actually see a flipped video on the parent phone.
Absolutely.
So they may not have a car, and they may not have a home, but they have a phone.
Absolutely. That is so true.
I know cases where very low-income people, the social workers that work with them, the first priority is getting them a smartphone.
Yes.
And most of them, I don't know how to analyze, but those low-income people have smartphones because the government provides it to them.
Yeah, exactly. I volunteer at a homeless shelter for battered women, and they provide a smartphone for every family.
That is fantastic information, and I'm so glad that our community is kind of pitching together to come up with these resources. And it's almost like we planned this out. I swear we didn't, but the number one concern to flipping that I've heard nationwide, in Canada, everywhere, is about student access. My students don't have access to the internet at home, and the very first thing I ask them is, do you have a smartphone? And a lot of times, one of my students particularly came to class and said, hey, Miss Thomas, I don't have Wi-Fi at home, I can't watch it. I said, who's your favorite rapper? Lil Wayne. Do you watch him on YouTube? Yes, I do. Well, can you watch Little Miss Thomas on YouTube? So that helped to alleviate that concern for that particular student and many of them in the classroom. The second, well, actually, let me ask you all, what other solutions would you have to the problem of access if they don't have a phone? What else?
Libraries.
Almost like we planned it, but it's not. All right. Sorry. Do they have libraries nearby? So a lot of times there are libraries with hotspots or with computers that my students have gone to. If they don't have a library, then there could be a McDonald's or a Panera or any place, Starbucks with a hotspot available. So they could go there, but then again, we don't know what students are dealing with at home. So to require this of all students would be kind of going overboard, but there are other solutions too. Another thing that we have is if they have TVs or computers without internet access or DVD players, that's all you really need. If they have one, you can burn DVDs of these flipped lessons and give them to students. And they can even be reusable if you don't have a lot of DVDs. You can just check them out like their library was. Or a flash drive. I love that. Absolutely. You can download it to a flash drive and they can take it home. Or if you have Chromebooks that the students are allowed to take home, they can download the lesson at school, bring it home, and then watch it or do it there. If your school has internet access, then sometimes students can come in early. Sometimes they can stay after school and use the school Wi-Fi. Also, if your school has a budget, another great thing that was suggested in Miami was that there are MiFi devices through, I believe, AT&T, which are mobile hotspots. Has anyone ever heard of those? Yes, they're $40. So if your school has maybe $400, you can buy 10 of them and then just, check them out to students, like maybe from your library. So they're called MiFis, M-I-F-I. So that's also a good one. Another thing that we like to do at our school, in my classroom, we have something called a viewing party. And I picked the term party very selectively because I knew that all of them would be all over it. So whether or not they have internet access at home, they want to come to the party. So what they do, they go down to the cafeteria, get their food at lunchtime, and come up, and we watch the flip together. And they love, chatting with their friends about the video, and I'm all for it. I'm just like, if you want to talk, as long as it's about the video, that's totally cool with me. So there's that, and also if you do have one-to-one devices in your school or a computer lab, then you can incorporate blended learning as well. And
another note for this is if they don't have the internet at home, but if somebody they know has a phone,
yes,
you can turn most smartphones into a mobile hotspot. And so you could have one person in any of the apartments near them with a smartphone, and they could turn that, if they're willing to turn that into a Wi-Fi hotspot for other people around.
yes.
So that's a solution that I've used before when actually at school our internet was down. I turned my phone into a full hotspot, gave them the password so our students could get on and continue learning.
Yeah, and then how many people here are in an area that has Comcast? Anybody have an area that has Comcast? Comcast offers for low-income families. They offer accounts for the internet for $9.99 a month, as long as the parent hasn't had Comcast in the past and owes the money. Okay, as long as they don't owe the money, they can actually, if they're on free reduced lunch, they can actually get a Wi-Fi have internet put into wherever their apartment or wherever they live for $9.99 a month. And for some people, it's okay. Some people have to stretch. I met a principal. This is kind of thing. I met a principal I thought was really interesting. In his community, he was in a Latino community with a lot of in a Title I school, and he said he drove around the neighborhood to figure out where families were when where they were off when it wasn't school, and he realized that everybody went to the laundromat. So he went into the neighborhood and he went to the biggest laundromats in the area in the neighborhood, and he had the PTA sponsor run to a fundraiser, and they put internet into those laundromats so the kids could go to the laundromat with the parent to go there and get the internet.
I love that. I love that. And that reminds me of what Adam was saying yesterday about the hotspots in the buses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see that come about.
I think our mom is working on a plan for free internet. It's called net neutrality.
Right. Yes. And Thomas Murray is he was here yesterday. I don't know if he's here today, but he's also working on he's working with the White House, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
There's a great organization, Demand Progress, that actually is a big part of that. So follow them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this all kind of ties into question 5, the resources that the school has available. So this is great ideas. Also, I can't wait till Google Fiber makes its way up here, because I think that they're going to have a similar plan.
I hope so.
Yeah, so that's going to be awesome. So yeah, and also your school might benefit. Someone said this in another session. A lot of companies will do a tech refresh for whatever devices that they have. Like, let's say it's a business corporation, and let's say that they have like the iPad 2s or something, and the iPad 3s come out, so they'll get rid of the iPad 2s to bring in the newest technology, but the iPad 2s would still be functional. So a lot of times they'll donate them to schools. So if you just check with them and see when they have their tech refreshes, then you can get them for maybe a tax write-off for them, or maybe for pennies on the dollar. So that's another thing to look at. Okay. Great. Now, the second most cited concern. I don't know if my students watched the lesson. I'll tell you, this happened to me. This smacked me right in the face, because one day I thought I was killing it. I made this best flip video that I've ever made. It addressed everything that the kids were doing wrong. It said, you need to cite your sources, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It was a 30-minute video. I got on there the next day. There were only 2 people who watched it. 2 people who watched it. So that's mistake number 1, making it 30 minutes, by the way. But so I learned that day. Right, exactly. So I learned that day. But we're going to see, there's different ways to see if your students watch the lesson. So I was introduced to this at Ed Camp, New Jersey. Somebody did this in a SmackDown session. I've never looked back since then.
Which one was that?
It
Blend
used to be,
space.
Ed Canvas,
Huh?
or it used to be Canvas or Ed Canvas or something. They changed the name.
Okay. Yeah, that one, I'm not too familiar with the history. I learned about this about maybe a year.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but Blend Space, I have never looked back from this. I have listed several options on here. Zaption, I've heard great things about it. It just won an award at South by Southwest. And also Ed Puzzle, Educan, those are fantastic. I'm definitely going to try them out soon. But Blend Space, let me give you guys a quick overview of Blend Space. This blew my mind when I found out about this. I was just like, this is saving my life right now. So this allows you to create a lesson in 5 minutes. And we're going to talk about, in a second, about different ways to create flips. The first one would be using other people's stuff, and the second one would be creating your own. This lends itself to both. So I'm going to give you kind of an overview of this. I'm going to log in with my Google account. Okay, and you'll see here that, why is it acting brand new? I don't know. Come on. There we go. All right, so here I have all of my different lessons. This is my most recent one. I just put it up there as a refresher for my kids. That's why you see it only has 4 views. But let's take this one, characterization. This is kind of like my playroom. Okay, so what you can do, you can create a lesson. Actually, yeah, so this one is about characterization. The first 3 is what the lesson actually looked like, and this is how I messed it up when I was demoing it some other times. But pretty much it allows you to create a playlist. You can add stuff from like YouTube. I wish you could see all of my screen. The very right-hand side is cut off, but you can add from YouTube. You can do a Google search. You can upload from your Google Drive, from your Dropbox, all kinds of things. So it is awesome. But it allows you to pretty much drag and drop. So I'm going to create one from scratch right now. So somebody yell out, what are you working on in class?
Solar system.
Solar system. Nice. Okay, so what I can do here, I'm going to do a YouTube search for solar system. See what videos are out there. So you can go through these, of course, preview them before you show them to your kids, because I've heard some horror stories. So once you find one that you like, you can just drag and drop it. Oh, and preview, you can just click on it down over there. And then you can get as many as you like, or as few as you like, and then you just share it out to your class. And that's not even the best part. The best part is that if you want to see who watched the video and if they understood, you just kind of hover over an empty box, click on Add Quiz, and right here you can create a self-grading quiz. So it's really cool. Like, how many planets are there? And then 3, 6, 8. If you want to be really mean, you can put 9. And then you just mark the correct answer. And then you add as many questions as you want. And when you're done, you click done. And then when the kids log in, then they'll take the quiz, and then it'll show you how they did. So,
is there a way to like create some kind of text space where you give them directions for what you want to do with the videos?
Yes, absolutely. If I were to go over here and I would probably type it up as a Google Doc.
I just put it in there first, like in the
Yep,
box.
and I put it in the first box.
Or you can use Google Form for multiple choice.
Absolutely, yes. You could also drop in a Google form, so it's awesome.
Can they maybe, if there's something in the first box, they say we're going to take notes while they watch the video, can that be open while the video is open?
That's a good question. I've never tried that, but they could probably open it in two different tabs. Yeah, 2 windows. Yeah, that would probably be a good way to do that. So,
And it's, I don't know if anybody uses Edmodo,
yes,
but it's an app that's right within Edmodo, so you can assign your scriptures.
absolutely, yes, and that's generally how we push ours out through Edmodo. So yeah, and so it's an Edmodo app, and it's also a standalone website. But it's pretty awesome. All right, so all of these pretty much do the same thing. There's a little bit of differences, different nuances between all of them. So definitely try out and pick whatever works for you.
But would you say overall, if you're kind of a beginner at this, lens space is kind of a...
I honestly wouldn't be able to say. I really only explored blend space thoroughly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just throwing everything out there, everything I've heard. So this is like a buffet. It's not like, 7-course meal. So just whatever works for you, just pick it and roll with it. Okay.
They're all easy to use.
Yeah, they're all.
I mean, if you use each one, there's a little bit differences between them,
Mhm.
but they're all have a very short learning curve and they're all easy to use.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I heard that Edpuzzle is also.
One of the advantages of using Edpuzzle, one of the advantages of using Edpuzzle, at least for now, because I think they're going to end up charging you at the end. But for now, you can actually put your class in, so you can have your class, all the kids' names in it, and then when they answer the questions, it drops into that. Yeah, it drops into, you can have them grade it, you can have answer questions, and you can actually look at their name on the spreadsheet and see the answers.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's too cool. Just the technology that's out there is just, mind blown. All right. So a lot of people say, well, that sounds great, but guess what? I don't have the time. So for that, the first thing that I would suggest is to plan it out, because if you plan, then it's going to save you some time. Either way you slice it. If you don't plan, you might forget to say something, then have to go back and redo it, or you might ramble on and on and on. So if you just plan it out, very basic outline, that's really all you need. You don't need to, go word for word scripting it, but just a basic outline, and that saves a lot of time. Also, I love this phrase. I always used to hear this on TV when I was a little kid. Buy now, pay later. That's what all the salespeople would say. So it's kind of the same thing with flipped instruction. Like once you create these videos, they are there, and it's not really going to change a whole lot, depending on what you teach. But generally, things are going to stay the same. I know that there's. Huh?
A verb is always going to be a verb.
A verb is always a verb, absolutely. Now, I know that there are some terminology changes with the Common Core. For example, I teach 8th grade English, and what used to be called persuasive writing is now called argumentative essay. So there might be some vocabulary changes, but what I do for that is that I can use the same videos. All I have to do is just put a little update at the beginning. Hey guys, whatever was called blah, blah, blah before, it's now called blah, blah, blah. So keep this in mind as you watch this video. Here you go. And just roll it out that way. So you can use these year after year after year. I'm using videos now that I made like 2 years ago, and the kids are like, "You look so young last night." I'm just like, "No, that wasn't yesterday." So,
Oh, your hair is a different color.
right, exactly. How did that happen? Also, there's no need to recreate the wheel. So, some people, there's 2 different camps for flipped instruction. There's also an overlap. You can either, like I said, use someone else's stuff, which is a quick time saver. You can create your own. So keep in mind that you have both options. So if you're really, really in a time crunch, or if you prefer using pre-existing resources, nobody says that you absolutely must create your own flip videos. I prefer doing it, but it's not a necessity. There's no need to recreate the wheel. There's like a bunch of stuff out there. So it's crazy how many resources are there. Okay, this one I am very, very guilty of. I just wanted to sneak this in there because that was me. I get nervous on video. I get nervous all the time.
And I think you do an awesome job because you do tons of videos.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. You're so sweet. Thank you. But all of the little verbal snafus and things of that nature, you can just edit them out. There's programs out there. You can do it straight from YouTube now. There's like a YouTube editor. There's also, if you're on Mac, then you can use iMovie. On your iPad, there's iMovie. There's also Windows Movie Maker, which is free. So you can always edit your videos and get them how you want them to be before you actually put them out there. Also, you can do a non-facial flip lesson for the very, very shy people out there. So we're going to talk about some apps in a second that can help you to do so. All right. Any other challenges to flipped instruction that we haven't talked about that might prevent someone? Any reason people might be hesitant?
Just for me as an academic technology coordinator, getting teachers on board, especially teachers, I'm in an independent school, it's been around for forever, and there are teachers who've been teaching it 40 years, and they're like, this is the way I've been doing it. What suggestions would you have to try and get people on board, so to speak? I mean, I have my own tactics, making relationships is a big one, but I just wanted to have dealt with that.
I just recently heard, you can look him up, it's Lodge McCannon, Cannon with N's, it's Cannon with 2 N's, it's C.O. McCammon, okay, that's his name. And he's done research about using the videos, but what he did the research on was that if the teacher makes the video and they show the video in class, okay, rather than flipped classroom, they show the video in class, it takes less instruction time. Okay, and then the video is available for the students to watch it again. And so what he did is he's actually done a research on this about the learning, so you could actually look at his research. So I think teachers that are reluctant is to try to get them to make a video to teach something that they will show in class. Okay, and then I think it kind of gets them to try it outside, to send it home. But I think if they're like I always teach it this way. Okay, make a video of it and show it in class.
I love that. That's a great idea. And if they have multiple preps, then maybe they could film their first prep and use it in a different prep. Then that could definitely.
Can you spell his name one more time?
Well, let me just see. Let me write it down so I make sure I got it. Okay, it's MCCA like Cannon, but CAMMON.
Okay.
And his first name is Lodge.
Lodge.
Yeah, LODGE. Yes. Yes, his name is Lodge. Lodge McCann. He's done a lot of work with flipped classroom, and you can look at his videos also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I would also add to that, I would probably start someone out by having them go on YouTube, or having them go on Zillion or something, and just finding a video that's going to teach the concept. And a lot of teachers already show videos in class. So if you say, what if you try signing up this homework? And that might be a good first step.
Right.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and one of the things that I did with Edmodo is I told the teachers, because they're supposed to kind of have a website, and a lot of them don't. And I said, well, this other teacher, she's just coming on Edmodo for this whole purpose of having a place of putting all her things in there, so it's like her website, but she doesn't have to spend the time updating and maintaining the website. She puts everything on Edmodo, and that got her in as a start, but then you can add things to flip from the platform.
Right. Absolutely.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. For sure. For sure.
All right, thank you.
So let's look at some ways that we can start flipping. So the first one, most of us are probably already familiar with, using other resources. So here are a sample of different websites. There's YouTube, Pinterest, SchoolTube, TeacherTube, Khan Academy, TED-Ed. So let me ask you guys, is anyone in here familiar with any of these and would like to briefly share their experience using any of these?
Khan Academy is awesome. I had a kid who needed just a math review on how to do a specific content area, and I like searched it on Khan Academy, and it, just basically played it with her, and it was beautiful.
Absolutely. Khan Academy is great for like math, science, things of that nature. Not so much language arts, but math and science is like the gold mine. Yeah.
I go to Pinterest sometimes when I've got two roles. I'm preschool librarian and also a lower school computer. And for preschool library, I'm new at that. So if I don't, if I need a grasshopper, whatever, I find a lot of arts, crafts, and book extension activities on Pinterest.
Oh yes, yes. And one quick tip for Pinterest, if you look up stuff using the Common Core standard and the word video after it, a lot of times it'll give you back like stuff for that particular standard. So yeah,
That's cool.
And it doesn't work all the time, but it works like a good percentage of the time. So yeah, great. Anyone else?
YouTube I use a lot for foreign language resources, authentic.
Absolutely. Yes, YouTube is great because it's like the great granddaddy of them all. It came about in 2005, and I don't even know how many videos are on there, hundreds of millions, if not billions. I don't even know.
I used SchoolTube a long time ago, maybe a few years ago, so they probably developed since then. I think it's really good for finding student work that teachers are posting, because the way most people I think use them is they'll have the students post their work there, so they know that it's a safe place for students to post their work instead of YouTube per se. And then also, but I find it somewhat challenging, well at least then, I found it challenging to search for everything that you wanted as far as specifics. You have to do really a lot of weeding through to get to what you wanted. And it takes some time before the students post their video, you have to approve it. So there's a process to the video going up. It's not as instant as YouTube is. So.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So these right here, they are also great resources. I know that yesterday at the demo slam, Jenna demoed TED-Ed. It's also great for flip lessons. So yeah, these are all great. So you have the slides, so feel free to click on these. If I see you, clicking on stuff, then I know that you're not like, so feel free to click on anything that you would like and try them out. And if you have any ahas, then go ahead and share them. Let's go to the next one. So I'm going to show you the second way, which is create your own. So there are millions and billions and zillions of different things out there that allow you to create your own videos for flipped instruction. I'm going to show you an example of what a flip looks like in my classroom. So this is going to take you to my YouTube page. All right, so let me see. I got to go to my playlists. Let's see. There are 50 million playlists on here. But all right, argumentative writing. This is a good one. This one I made last year, but we used it last week in my class. So this, let me see. I made this with something called Camtasia. It's a product. It's not free, but it's one of the non-free ones that I would recommend because for me, it's worth the price. What it allows you to do, it allows you to put your face and your screen at the same time. And that is something that I really wanted. I wanted them to be able to see me and not just a dry computer screen because I'm taking them through an outline. But let me fast forward a little bit. I'll show you a little bit of what this looks like. So the very first thing we're going to do is that we are going to start off by outlining our introductory paragraph. And this should be kind of familiar to you guys because we've already done analytical essays. So in our introductory paragraph, we're going to have approximately 5 sentences. You might have a little more, you might have a little less, we'll see how it goes. But the first thing we can do is have an attention grabber, okay? And there you might remember it could be like a funny story, it could be a statistic. So pretty much I took them through the process of writing an argument. They're doing it right now again, so this, I could have written a whole argument for them from beginning to end and done it in one video, but then again, none of them would have watched it. So pretty much what I try to do is split it up into little chunks. Ideally, no more than 5 minutes. Some of these went slightly over, but that way it really helps, because if they have like, they can watch like the first video when they get home from school, the second one after soccer practice, the third one, you know, after dinner or whatever. So they can kind of manage it better. And even if they get like 3 of 5 or 3 of 6 to watch, then that's better than 0 of 6, because they're so intimidated that the video is that long. So I really like chunking it, but that's what it looked like in my classroom.
Do you, or when you started off, because you're probably more comfortable now, did you start off writing a script?
I did like a
What you
little
were gonna
outline.
say?
Yeah, a little outline just with different bullet points, and just make sure to hit each point. Yeah. All right, so we have some apps on here as well. These are more so app-based. Some of them are device agnostic, but some of them are specific to different apps, or I'm sorry, to different platforms. But on here, we have Explain Everything, which is awesome. It's for the people who don't like to put their face in the video. Then you can like, actually, I'm not going to talk about it. Does anyone in here want to share what Explain Everything does? Or I just saw some heads, so.
It's really easy to use it with second graders and full depth export. You can draw pictures, you can upload pictures, you can draw pictures, you've uploaded, you can record your voice, you can play with the font and the color, you can add background. It's very easy to use, and it's like a slideshow, narrated, and it's awesome.
Absolutely.
But only good for on the iPad.
On the iPad.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only drawback. It's an iPad only app. But it's like an interactive whiteboard that you can record and more. Like you can import like pictures and all kinds of things. It's really, really cool. This is not free. This is about $3, I think. However, if you want like the little brother to this, like the free little brother, check out Show Me. It's a free app, and it does pretty much the same thing. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles.
I just wanted to Explain Everything website. Apparently they do have an Android and Windows Store app now.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
That's new.
That is definitely a win. So Windows and oh gosh, one of my
And Android.
Android. Thank you.
Yes, you're on
Yeah. So y'all can use
Android
these
tablet
as well.
service.
Yeah, so this is great. So, and Show Me is great. And reasons why I like using these are, if I have a student created video that I want to put out there on the internet, but I don't necessarily want to show their face. Like, let's say it might be something that the educational community can benefit from, and I've checked with the student and say, yes, put it on the website, but you know, they might not have a publicity release. This is great because it doesn't show their face. Okay. Screen, oh, let me actually just go through the names of these, and if any of you have used any of these, I just want to open the floor to anyone's experiences. But we have also Screenshot, MoveNote, Ustream, Buddy Poke, Notability, Telegammy, TouchCast, Beetle, Biologs, and KindMaster. So has anyone used any of these?
I've used Ustream.
You've used Ustream. How do you
Not
use?
as an app, like just a website.
Okay.
I've done it for live discussions with committees, like where we just couldn't meet up together and we just did a Ustream live, but it also archived it for other members of the organization who necessarily couldn't be on the live stream, and then people could also chat back and forth with questions to whomever the person was that was speaking. So it's basically like a live stream.
Absolutely. And you know what? As you were talking, I left that pen over there. Look at me, I'm a mess. But in addition to that, I would also add to the list our new friend, Periscope. Very similar to Ustream.
Yeah, I would just add that I've explored in my mind
Yeah.
that it may be good if you want to start a student newscast in your school. So I was trying to figure out how you can use it in schools.
Because TouchCast too is very good for
Yeah.
students.
TouchCast.
Yes. Oh yeah, we do our morning announcements through that. Yep, absolutely. But the question about how to use Periscope in an educational setting, if you follow this hashtag on Twitter, there's a bunch of stuff. So it's Periscope EDU. So there's like a bunch of stuff using that hashtag. I think that there's even a Google Doc on there. I think that Google Doc is bit.ly/Periscope EDU without the hashtag and all in lowercase. And that has been where some people have been putting in their ideas of how to use Periscope educationally. So There's some great tips on there. Let's see here. One of my favorites that has not yet been mentioned is Telegammy. Has anyone ever used that one? Oh, Telegammy. I love this thing. I gotta show it to you because it just blew my mind when I saw it. And I was using it to play around at first. Not for good, mostly for evil. But it ended up being like really cool using it in my class. So Telegammy, it pretty much cartoonifies you. And let's see, I'll update next time. Okay. So I created this Telegammy here that pretty much looks like me, ish. It's a little skinnier and more fashionable, but that's okay. So with this, then I can set the emotion to make it happy, sad, silly, angry. I can also create whatever background I want. I can even take a picture right now. You know what? You guys would be my background because you all are awesome. So let's see. When I count to 3, then say Google. 1, 2, 3. Google. All right. I wish I could get everybody in the shop, but it only goes so far. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to record a message. Okay. Hi everybody, we're here at the Google Summit. Yay! I should have said Gap Summit, but that's okay. So I'm going to play this back for you all. Let me turn my sound on. Okay. And then when I play this, hi everybody, we're here at the Google Summit. Yay!
Which app was that again?
This is Telegammy.
Telegammy.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it, for free you get 30 seconds, which is kind of short, but you can yeah, sometimes it is enough, but yeah, you can also upgrade for I think $2 or something like that and get like the version that gives you 90 seconds, and you can do all kinds of crazy things with it. So I really love Telegammy. Yeah. All right. So let me see. So those are some good apps. Now the next one will be more so like software that you could use. All right, so there's some software and there's also some web-based stuff on here. So anyone on here use any of these tools and would like to share their experience?
Wow, not in a long time.
I have.
Which one?
VoiceThread, a long time ago. GarageBand, a long time ago.
Yeah,
I use VoiceThread for online course.
Mm-hmm.
Camtasia.
You say you use Camtasia too?
Yeah, but I'm never the guru of creating videos that you are.
Oh, no.
I use Camtasia all the time.
Camtasia, Audacity.
Yeah.
The only problem I had, I use Camtasia, but if you don't have a microphone, then you have to position your computer. It was kind of a disaster at the beginning because we weren't sure how it worked and how to do it, and so you're trying to talk, but your computer's over here, and then you're trying to be at the board, and so I used it without me in it,
Right.
which I preferred anyway. But the kids, they knew my voice, and I'm walking through and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely,
Practice. Figure out how to make it work.
Absolutely. That is true. Yeah, a lot of times it's all about that, all about the practice. But yeah, there's some great ones on here. VoiceThread is really where I started flipping. I didn't know I was flipping. This was in 2008. And Carmela, she was with our technology training team. So they had this great program called STEP.
Step.
Yep, that our school took part of, and VoiceThread was one of the tools that they showed us. And I'll show you all what our very first VoiceThread looks like. It's memories. And it's funny because most of these kids, I have a wrong hyperlink, I'll fix that. But most of these kids that you'll see or that you'll hear are actually, they've graduated from high school now. They were like in 7th or 8th grade.
That's about when I used VoiceThread.
Yeah? Yeah, but it's still kicking.
I know.
It's still kicking. So this is ours on cyberbullying. So pretty much you can upload
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to discuss.
You can upload right there I uploaded a PowerPoint, but you can also upload a video. You can upload a picture and have some discussion on it. So if you want your kids engaged in your flips, then this is a great tool here. So I put out the prompts.
Cyberbullying. So what I want you to do is scroll through the PowerPoint and leave a voice comment on every page with your own reflections. Think for a second.
Okay, and this is like a kid right here. cyberbullying is really, really bad. Is it just a wish? So,
I probably wish she did.
yeah, she probably did say it over and over. But yeah, so VoiceThread is great. I see that we're starting to run short on time, so I'll kind of pick up the pace a little bit. But these are all great, so they're all linked in the presentation. Feel free to click on them and just, whatever you find, and just please share it to the hashtag. We'd love to see it. Okay, now this third one is about curation. Once you have your videos made, how do you get them out there? This is where I find that Google shines. Shine, shine, shines. Let me actually write in the obvious choice. Duh. Okay, but there are many, many different ways to get your videos out there. You could do it through Google Drive and just share it with your kids, like if you have an email list. You could do it through Google Classroom. You could just share the link, like upload it to your Google Drive and just put it through your classroom streams. That's a good one. This one, if you click on it and you can't get to it, then that is not an error. There's a reason for that. I wanted to demonstrate that you can lock it down. If you put it on a Google site and you only want access to specific people, like for example, if your kids are creating videos, you don't want them out there, you want to lock it down to the class, and you can just create a Google site. This, if you click on this link, it's not going to work for you. It's going to work like a charm for me, haha. But this takes you to our morning announcements website that we have. We haven't done it in a while because of testing, but yeah, don't even get me started on that. Yeah. Right. But this is like, this is using TouchCast. Yeah, and the kids, it's a French immersion school, so they're speaking French. So this is, they're able to, yeah. And those are our 6th graders. Very, very proud of them. But they are awesome. So it's a great way to lock it down to only the people who you give access to. I don't even share it with the students. I share it with the teachers only. But if we wanted to share it with the students, then we could do that as well. And they would not be able to share it with their friends if we set it to private. So that would be great. Yeah. There's also Blend Space that we talked about. Talked a little bit about Edmodo. Edmodo, you could put it out similarly to how you would in Google Classroom. But my favorite, and this is kind of where I gravitate right now, most of our videos, we do them right here in Google Hangouts. And what I do is that I will create a Google Hangout pretty much with myself, with an audience of 1. And I record my video and it goes automatically to my YouTube page. So that's how I do most of my videos because I'm terrified of messing up. But in the past we have used something called virtual office hours where we set up a Google Hangout. How many of you use Google Hangouts? Okay, all right, yes, quite a few. So, sorry, that's my Boxer app. But Google Hangouts is awesome because what it allows is you could set up a Google Hangout and I gotta turn this off, I'm sorry guys. But you can set up a Google Hangout and you can tell your students, hey, click on this link at a particular date and time, like create an event in Google Hangouts. And when your students click on it, then it'll take them to your video and you can interactively do your video and answer their questions like in real time. It'll pop up on the right hand side of your screen if you enable the Q&A. Yeah, so I'll show you an example of this. So Google Hangouts, it is very, very simple to create one. So with this Google Hangout right now, I can just create a Hangout on air, and this probably could be a session all by itself, but I'm going to go ahead and do one really quickly. So this is GAF, I'm going to call it GAF Summit Test. I'm a huge fan of this. And then you can just put like a little description. Whatever you put in this box will automatically go to your YouTube channel. So this is a test of the of GHOA. If you ever see GHOA, Google Hangout on Air. And then you can say when it starts, either it starts now or it starts later. I'm gonna say now. And then your audience, this is the cool thing. So if you put it on public, then it's gonna automatically save as a public video on YouTube. So as soon as you're done recording it, then anyone in the world can watch it. And also, as you are recording it, anyone in the world can watch it. I don't want that. So I am going to do my little trick here, where I'm gonna share it with just myself for right now. So when I'm sharing it, then it's going to create this page. So if I had shared this with other people, they'd be able to watch the Google Hangout by pressing the play button right there, and that would start me. So really quickly, just a quick overview. This app is the one that you want, this Q&A. That'll let people type in their questions, and you'll be able to see it in real time as it comes up. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Start. And this is pretty much like, this and Periscope are very, very similar. I know that y'all got an overview of Periscope yesterday from the Demo Slam, but yeah, it's very, very similar. And you can have up to 15 people on here. That would be the difference. You can have up to 15 people on a GAP account. If it's a non-GAP account, you can have up to 10. Depends on where you originated from. And then, let me get this off here. I play around a lot with this thing. Okay, so here, when I click Start Broadcast, then it's going to start broadcasting me to whoever I invited, and they can see me. So my students can see me. I won't be able to see them unless I invite them to be part of the Hangout. So it's a really, really cool tool. I have a video on my YouTube channel if you're interested in learning how to do this. But this has been a total game changer for me in terms of education and in terms of flipped instruction.
Is it connected to the Google Plus?
It is. It's
So if the Google Plus goes away, does this go away?
No, this will stay.
Okay.
This will stay. I read that this one will stay, as well as a couple other things. But yeah, this is.
I don't want Google Plus to go away.
I know Google Plus is pretty cool.
So
Google
what's
Plus
gonna
is
stay
really
in
cool.
Google Plus?
Hangouts is gonna stay. I forgot. There's two other things that they said were definitely gonna stay. Does anybody else in here know? But I need Google it. Yeah, you could Google it. You could Google it. Huh?
What's gonna happen on community?
Communities might be one of them. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that would be awesome. So yeah.
Is it only for live videos, or can you put recorded videos?
You can put a recorded video in the trailer. Like, let me see. I think I closed the page a little too fast, but oh no, it's still open. Okay. So you see right here, you can add a trailer to it. Let me see. The way to do it is kind of escaping me right now. The trailer would go right there. Yeah, I would have to play with it a little bit, but you have the option to add a trailer. I think they might have moved that button somewhere. But yeah, people could watch that before your thing goes live. So it's really cool. I love it. All right, so let's see. So best practices, 4 best practices to leave you with. First thing is to plan. Second thing is to produce. So just get it done. Third thing would be to edit it if you want. And the last thing is to keep it simple. So 5 minutes maximum if at all possible, because our kids' attention spans are not very, very long. So, any questions that we didn't get to? All right, well, there's some more resources linked to that. So let's connect if you are interested, and we are in DC here, so I can definitely push our DC area Google Educator Group. Woo, Charity is a
Hey, write our hashtag up there.
Yes. Hashtag GEGDMV. Y'all know what DMV stands for, right?
Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yes, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So, all right. So GEGDMV is our hashtag. So this is all my information right here. Voxer. If any of you are on Voxer, then that is a great tool. Just putting that out there.
What is Voxer?
Voxer is it's like a walkie-talkie app. It is my favorite. Yeah, it's like a walkie-talkie app. But you can have like small groups talk about like different. Huh?
Don't we call that a phone?
No. You can have groups of like up to 500 people talk about different things, and there's like some great educators that are like on there and talking about all kinds of different things. We should start up a flip one. That would be really cool, and that way we can all kind of keep in touch. But we can also do so on the hashtag. Don't forget, FlipMD. So if you come up with any flips and you'd like to put them on that hashtag, then please tag them with that on Twitter, and that's a great way for us to stay in touch. And here's the rest of the info. Slides are right here. So thank you all so much for coming, and hope that y'all get to flipping. All right, thank you.